Welcome to Speaking Holistically, the podcast that explores the power of alternative medicine, natural healing, and homeopathic solutions to help you achieve true wellness. Each week, Dr. Jen and Amy G dive into the world of holistic health, discussing researched, time-tested remedies with expert insights from Dr. Jen, as well as real-life stories from patients to empower you to take charge of your health. So if you're ready to embrace a more natural path to wellness, let's start speaking holistically, because true healing begins from within. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Speaking Holistically. I'm your co-host, Amy G. I'm here with my co-host, the amazing Dr. Jen, and we're doing a simple swap on something that I think most of our listeners will be quite interested to hear, which is deodorant alternatives to our current aluminum-containing ones that are on most store shelves.
Well, and most people are getting away from the aluminum. I mean, even this, let's look at The Secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says aluminum free up there at the top, but that doesn't mean other things aren't put in it. And generally, I don't love anything that leaves a residue. So even some of the natural ones, we're going from 24-hour protection to 48-hour protection. And you're like, okay, so what are you putting in there that is not allowing my armpits to breathe? And really, I mean, your armpits are where a lot of your lymph nodes are, located.
Yeah.
So we don't want to clog that, because you're supposed to sweat for a reason. Your body's trying to get rid of things. So if you stop the sweating, that's an issue. So there is antiperspirants and there's deodorants. We're just talking about deodorants because I don't think that anybody should be using antiperspirants. There are people who have hyperhidrosis issues where they do excessively sweat and it's difficult for them. I'm not judging anyone. If that's something that you have to use periodically or something that you need to do, that's entirely up to you. If I was going to a business meeting and I needed to use that periodically so I wasn't sweating through my entire shirt, there's a time and place for everything. We're just trying to create information for people, whether they're here or whether they're here, and somewhere along that spectrum of what works for them. So this leaves a pretty interesting residue. Does it work? It works to a decent degree, but a lot of the natural ones I can't tell you how many I have here, to be very honest with you. So, because patients are always asking me, so I'm like, okay, I'll go buy it and try it and just look at the ingredients and actually try it, because I don't think I can give a full opinion on things if it's not something I have done myself. So here's my experience on it, whatever. So the two that I actually like the best is this company called Alvera, and 75% of it, I believe, is aloe vera gel. And it comes in it's a roll-on, and it's got a decent scent. I think this one is almonds, aloe and almonds. There's different scents. You can get this on Amazon or on their website. But this is actually something that my mom used and has used since the 70s.
Wow.
So the packaging has not changed at all since the 70s. Okay. So, which is good. I mean, if you've got product placement like this is, or, marketing, you're going to look for this
brand
forever.
Recognition. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Brand recognition. Exactly. So this is a roll-on deodorant. I actually really like this one. It does have a mild scent to it, because I don't love colognes, perfumes, stuff like that. That's not my jam. I don't like when people smell fake at all.
Yeah.
Other people love that. That's cool if that's you, but this has a very, very gentle scent to it, and it's not terrible. But this is the one I absolutely adore, and it's from Ancient Minerals, and it is a cream deodorant. You need very little. I think it says on the bottle to use an entire pump. I'm like, you don't need a whole pump. This will last you way longer if you don't use a whole pump. But it's got magnesium and it's got zinc in it. My mom used to say when I was a kid, zinc because you stink. So that just stuck with me. If you have body odor issues, potentially that's a zinc deficiency as well. So it's interesting that this comes with magnesium, and more we're learning about the benefits of magnesium and also the types of magnesium. So if you go on their website and learn a little bit more about how they get their magnesium and what type of magnesium I think you'll be impressed. So this works like a dream, and it doesn't leave a weird film. So I don't like that. I don't like to get in the shower the next morning and wash my pits and still feel it on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it doesn't leave a residue like on clothing and stuff?
Not at all. Nope. And it goes
Yeah.
on, I thought, like cream. I don't know if I'm gonna like this very much, but literally as hot as I am, even during hot flashes, the stuff stays on and does very, very, very well. So I can actively take care of my patients and not have to worry about, about how much I'm sweating or, my job is very physical. So
Yeah, it is.
I'm not just sitting here talking to people and writing things on a prescription pad and handing it out to them. So and nothing wrong with that, but like my job is like being at the gym for 4 to 6 hours straight. So can you imagine like how awesome I would smell by the end of it if I didn't use something that actually worked? But I'm not gonna give up my health for that, but I also don't want to stink. I have plenty of patients that walk in and they do smell like an onion. And nobody wants to smell like that. And sometimes they don't even realize it because they've smelled like that for so long that they don't even know.
Yeah.
So Alvera, like I said, it's an aloe and almond, which sounds kind of weird, but it's awesome. And like I said, the scent is so natural and mild. And then this really doesn't have any scent at all. So literally none. So both of those work fabulously and have good ingredients and are aluminum free and don't have a bunch of other junk in it either.
I have a question. And so you're seeing these commercials for like Lumi deodorants and things like that. And what I'm noticing is that the marketing message is basically you need to have deodorant on your whole entire body, head to toe. And I would love to know your thoughts about that. Obviously, I don't subscribe to that way of thinking at all. I don't do that. But like, I just find it interesting that the messaging has now suddenly changed to you need to be putting deodorant all over your whole body.
Yeah, from your front to your back to your armpits to, I mean, like literally, I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way I would ever do that personally.
Yeah.
But I shower at least once a day, and some people don't do that. So, but you'll get a bacterial growth that sometimes can elicit a smell. So that's what they're trying to inhibit. But at the end of the day, if the bacterial count is normal and you don't have a ton of different deficiencies as far as minerals and stuff go, and your hormones, like we talked about selenium being important for progesterone production and stuff like that, and really overall hormone production, including thyroid. If you have a balance, you're generally not going to have super offensive body odor. So if you have a natural balance of the pH of your body as well as a normal bacterial growth, we all have bacteria all over our skin at all times. But if we have a balance of all of that and nutrient deficiencies are taken care of, and hygiene does play a decent role in it, there is something to be said for water. So, I mean, and if I went a week without washing my hair, it would be atrocious and I would smell like a dirty hippie. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. And there are some people that can go 5 to 7 days and not wash their hair and they're perfectly fine. So, I mean, I tend to sweat more, I think, than some people do. My activity levels are super, super high. So I never stop. So for me, showers are super important. I do that every single day. I just take care of my body in a way that hopefully keeps that balance. And when things get unbalanced, then I manage it with potentially using probiotics or whatever, but I tend to use less chemicals. And I think that also helps the pH of my body stay so I don't have to apply deodorant, front and back, up and down, everywhere. And, the other thing too, since we're touching on this, I had a patient years ago and I told him that he's like, I'm so sorry, my feet smell. And I was like, oh no, it's your socks. And he was like, no, it's not. I said, yeah, it is. And he said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. And he said, no, these are 100% cotton. I said, they can't be. Not the way your feet smell. They cannot be 100% cotton. And so he went to prove me wrong and he drove back to Costco because he knew where he had gotten them. And he was a neighbor of mine. So if he's watching, hi. So he knows who he is. But he went back to Costco literally right after the appointment to prove me wrong, which I was totally fine with. And he called me, he goes, you're right. They added spandex to it. I said, yep. So any of those synthetic fibers, so whether they're in your underwear, whether they're in your gym pants, all of these polyesters, which are plastic bottles, basically, that's also going to inhibit the way your body dumps things out of the skin, but it also can change the pH and the bacterial count and the type of bacteria that grows on your skin. So if you're using anything but pure 100% cotton or 100% linen or 100% wool, if you're using nylon or polyester or any of these types of fabrics, even if it's 1%, even if it's 5%, it literally can change the smell of your bodies instantly. So should we be getting rid of that, or should we be applying deodorant to all of our parts? So it's kind of like the smokers using cologne to cover up the smell of smoke. We all know how well that works. Not really long term, right? So, and like I said, there's no judgment. I'm just using these as examples. So if we can keep our pH healthy and our body's healthy and we have regular hygiene, and depending on who you are, like I said, no way I could go a week without showering. There's no way I could go 3 days without showering. But that's me. So I have a family member that she literally can go 3 or 4 or 5 days without showering and she's perfectly fine. So, and not
That's amazing. I don't have that.
else.
Yeah, I don't have that party trick in my book. I can't do that.
No, but our activity levels are different. Our hormones are different. Our everything is different. So yeah, if you're using deodorant for every place in your body, there might be another issue going on, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that because I'm seeing all these commercials and they're telling you like basically your whole body has to have deodorant on it now, and I'm like, this is nuts, you guys. Like,
yeah. Well, and I mean, I think too, you get used to certain things. Like if you stopped using deodorant, at some point your body probably wouldn't smell anymore. So there is that bacterial balance once again in the armpits and everywhere else on the skin. So there's plenty of people who have stopped using it completely, and at the beginning it's probably a little bit rough for them. But at the end of the day, it's like whatever works for you as well. But I do have a lot of patients that come in and say, what do you think about this? I'm not going to name all the company names, but they'll try it and they're like, yeah, I didn't like the way it felt and I didn't like the way it smelled. All of that. Pay attention to that. So if something doesn't feel right, there's probably something in it that isn't great for your body.
yeah, no, it's a great rule of thumb, and I think we should all abide by that. So we've
Yeah.
got two really good options for natural deodorant, everybody. So
At work, and don't leave a yucky residue.
years and years and years ago, I don't even know how long it's been. I tried a rock deodorant and it did not work. And I used it for a couple days, and that was,
I think
that was it
all of
for
us
that.
have done that. Yeah, no, I think all of us have done that, to be very honest with you, at some point. And, and I actually bought one probably 4 or 5 months ago. It's still sitting in my drawer because I was like, oh, I should try this one. And I haven't gotten around to it because this works so great. And honestly, I really think that the magnesium and the zinc in it has calmed my nervous system. Well, definitely the magnesium to a certain degree. So I'm like, oh, I might keep taking that because, there's magnesium sprays, there's magnesium lotions. In fact, Ancient Minerals has a really great magnesium lotion, which I'm generally not into lotions because I don't want all the other things that create the lotion in there. I prefer an oil, but the oils tend to burn me. So, and a lot of people have that issue. And so I have to add some extra oil, but some of the companies it still isn't enough. So periodically when my calves are super, super, super tight, I mean, like I'm pretty sure my Achilles tendon is going to roll up into my calf. I will actually have my husband massage the Ancient Minerals magnesium lotion on my legs, and it calms everything down, and I literally sleep through the night. So
Wow, that's a good tip because Pete, he gets hamstring cramps and he'll like work out and he rolls his muscles, of course, but he has problems with hamstring tightness. Pretty bad, actually. They're very, very tight. So I wonder if I should, try that with him.
might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Jen. I love this because this is something that I think a lot of people just refuse to even let themselves explore natural deodorants because they're like, oh, I don't want to stink. I don't want to stink. It's like, well, if you find one that works, you can use it and you're not going to stink. So you have options, and thank God you vetted them, and thank you for vetting them because you've tried a lot of them over the years. And again, I'm not alone in my rock deodorant experiment that went awry after a couple of days. And you do not need to put deodorant head to toe. Those are your takeaways, everybody.
If you do, there's something missing. Let's be real. So
yes. So, all right. Well, thank you, Dr. Jen. Thanks everybody for listening. Join our school community. I'll put the link in the show notes below. I'll also include the links to the 2 deodorants that Dr. Jen mentioned. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, thanks everybody. Bye-bye. That wraps up another episode of Speaking Holistically. Thank you for listening. We hope today's conversation gave you new insights and inspiration to take charge of your health. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, be sure and join the Speaking Holistically school community by clicking the link in the show notes. There, you'll get access to daily podcast episodes, weekly live Q&As, educational content, and so much more. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, be well, stay curious, and keep speaking holistically.